This is the Patriots Catch-22 podcast with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
I'm Evan Lazar. Hello, everybody.
Nailed it. Joined as always by our spar. That's a fit. That's a match. No risk it, no biscuit.
22. Here is Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
I'm going to say this year's group has the potential to be better.
Has the potential. There's more variance because you have one, maybe two rookies.
Because I look at Trent Brown and Morgan Moses and kind of think that's a wash.
Yeah.
I look at
Trent Brown's better.
22.
I don't know. Trent Brown's so inconsistent.
Yeah, he's better, though, than a 35-year-old Morgan Moses.
On Wenu and Mason, I'd probably give it to Mason. I think Mason was a better player, but I don't think it was, like, worlds better.
That's not a massive gap.
We're not talking about, like, Zach Martin here. Like, a good player, Shaq Mason. Center, definitely David Andrews.
Obviously.
Left guard, Karras versus Strange. I'd probably give that one to Karras.
Oh, so maybe that Mac Jones line is better.
And then I say Will Campbell.
I say Will Campbell too. But like that's so the one guy we're giving to this year. But also, so the weird thing with that line was it took forever because that wasn't the line from the start of the season.
Well, if you're wondering why it's just me to kick off the show today, that's because we're waiting on a very popular Alex Barth, who is needed everywhere, producer Alex, these days. He's so popular that we have to wait on him, to come down here to do the show. He's got bigger fish to fry over at the official flagship station of the New England Patriots, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Alex will be here in a second. He'll be along in a moment. I believe he's on with Felger and Maz. Wish him well on that endeavor. So he's going to come down here in just a second, and he'll join me here. But that was a good open for what I wanted to talk about off the top of the show, because I wanted to go offensive line. You all knew I was going to go offensive line. Let's face it. Everybody could probably see that coming from a mile away, because you have to imagine, as a guy that likes to talk a lot about the offensive line and has had a tough time watching the offensive line the last couple of years around here, to have not one, but two rookies that are already pushing in the second week of training camp for starting jobs, that's like me on Christmas morning. Like I got two rookie linemen that are doing this already. I mean, this is fantastic news for me, but also for the Patriots, most importantly. And I don't think it should be undersold how big of a development it is that Will Campbell and Jared Wilson in the first week of pads here have acclimated well, have looked the part. Have looked the part of left tackle, of course, for Will Campbell, and we'll get to that here in a second. But Jared Wilson, the third-round pick, not coming out of nowhere, I wouldn't say. I think that a lot of us could have seen this coming. I didn't know how quickly it would be for him because he only had the 1 year of starting experience at Georgia, and he's only 22 years old. But Jared Wilson, rave reviews for him, rave reviews for his just knowledge of the game and his technique and his athleticism, but how quickly he's grasping things. So those are all great things to hear for the Patriots offensive line, which we knew was the biggest weakness on this team going into last offseason. And if you drafted two guys that can start on the line, that can upgrade this unit, you are in much better shape than you were a year ago. So that's the great news on the offensive line. We are going to go position by position today. Once Barth eventually graces us with his presence, we will go position by position on the roster. And I'm told that he's coming down right now from the ramp, so he should be here within the next few minutes. On the roster, just top storylines. We're going to try to mention as many players as we possibly can. I'm not going to promise that we're going to mention all 91 players on the roster. I don't know if we'll quite get there, but we're going to try to mention just the high level stories, but also storylines, but also the little things, because you know that we pay attention to all the details here on Patriots Catch-22. So my opening takes on the offensive line, positive development there, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read some emails. Maybe I'll take these calls while we wait for Barth to wander on in here at some point. But there's a lot of offensive line questions right in the emails right now, so we'll just give it a whirl. And the first one here is from Jeff from LA. And he said, given that we've seen multiple Cole Strange seasons, and he's yet to demonstrate that he can pass block at a legitimate NFL level, I tend to root for Wallace to win that job. Has Wallace demonstrated that he might have a higher ceiling at left guard? This assumes Wilson has the highest ceiling at center, and those two round out their best 5. Okay, I got you, Jeff. So that's another development here on the offensive line. What does this all mean for Cole Strange with Jared Wilson seeing first-team reps at left guard? What does that mean for Cole Strange's future, who is working with the second unit today at center? First time we've seen Cole Strange at center. Now, it should be mentioned that Garrett Bradbury did not participate in today's practice after he got banged up yesterday. Towards the end of practice, Bradbury not out there today. So the Patriots moved Ben Brown to the starting center position. And then Jared Wilson was at left guard with Cole Strange. Oh, there he is. Wow, look who it is. How did it go?
Is this what it's like when you come back from practice?
How did it go? Did everything go okay up there for you? Zoe didn't pick on you too much, did he?
No. Me and Zoe are having a ton of fun. Me and Zoe, it's been great.
Catch your breath.
No, I had to do, I was on Felger and Maz. You think after today I'm not going to go set the record straight on Will Campbell?
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. But my opening take, and I know to your point there, I know Will Campbell had a little bit of an up and down day today. But my opening...
There's really one down and then up. Or two downs and up.
My opening take of the show, as a guy that loves himself some offensive line play, I'm just so encouraged for this team and for the offense that they might have drafted 2 starting caliber offensive linemen, not just 1. And for a group that last year, by every metric across the board, pass blocking, run blocking, win rates, PFF grades, 32nd in the league, and all of them on the offensive line. The fact that they might have drafted 2 starters in the top 100 in Jared Wilson and Will Campbell is a huge development for the team. Like, I don't think I can undersell how big of a deal that is.
For where their offensive line was, they needed it.
And on top of that, if you assume that Jared Wilson, after today, now I know Bradbury wasn't out there, but based off the movement that they had without Bradbury, it seems like they're looking at, from left to right, Campbell, Wilson, Bradbury, Onwenu, Moses as their best 5 right now, with Bradbury at center and Wilson at left guard. So that means that 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line will be new, and the only incumbent holdover is the best guy from last year, Mike Onwenu. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you had the worst offensive line in football, you should have 4 new starters the following year.
At least 4.
And it appears that the Patriots are going to potentially have 4 new starters the following year, which is a great sign to me in all avenues. I want to get into like the minutia of all of that, but that was my opening take. Do you have an opening take?
How long were you going before I came down here? Let me see what I missed.
Like 7 minutes, maybe.
So you started before 2:30.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. It's 2:39, and I started at
honestly, I will
2:31.
say, people want to go check it out, 98.5 Sports Hub YouTube page. Felger was actually asking me like some insightful offensive line questions.
How many plugs are you going to do for your
I'm just
station?
saying, like, it was a good. You would have enjoyed it. It was a good offensive line discussion.
Okay, what did he ask?
About the outside inside move, why that's hard to counter, just kind of some alignment stuff, moving between center and guard, things like that. Jared Wilson's a good opening take. I'll say this: on a day where the offensive line was not at its best, Drake May might have had his best day.
Yeah.
Which is encouraging. He handled pressure very well. He talked earlier in camp, I think it was like the first day or two. He mentioned that one of his big focuses this year is he wants to remain a passer longer when he scrambles. He doesn't just want to tuck the ball and go. He wants to look to create downfield. He had a few chances today, I thought, when the pocket was breaking down, whether it was one lineman losing or just the thing kind of collapsing, to scramble, and it wouldn't have necessarily been the wrong decision. But it wouldn't have been the best decision. And instead, he kept his eyes downfield. The Kyle Williams touchdown was one of them, where the pocket kind of came in a little bit, reset his feet, boom, downfield, 40-yard touchdown. So the other thing I liked about Drake May today, there were a lot of days at the start of camp where it was Drake May in the and this is an offense take, not just Drake May, I guess. Drake May in the offense started rough but bounced back. Started slow but made up for it. And look, you want to see him bounce back. That's good. That's obviously good. But especially for a team that started slow at times last year, you want to kind of see him start strong, right? Instead of Drake May having a bounce back day, it was where's the day that we're just like, hey, Drake May was good. Yeah. Wire to wire, he was good.
Sure.
I think Drake May was good wire to wire today, and it happens to be on the day where the offensive line gave him probably the least help they've given him all summer.
So I like that take as well. What I am most encouraged about with Drake May right now is his timing and structure within the offense. It doesn't look like a guy that is learning a new offense.
He looks very comfortable.
He looks very comfortable. He looks confident in his reads. He's making good decisions with the football. I don't want to jinx him, so I'll knock on some wood. He has yet to throw an interception in this training camp.
He had one dropped, like his second pass, but since then he's been great.
I didn't say he didn't get lucky a little bit, but he has yet to throw a true interception to the defense.
Well, I think that
in camp yet.
I bring that play up because, again, that was his, second, third throw of camp?
Yes.
He really hasn't even I don't even know how many times he's been lucky since then. He really hasn't put the ball in harm's way.
I want to say that there's one for sure that Jabril Peppers dropped like the first day of camp.
It was like the second or third throw.
Yeah, and then there's maybe one other one that I can remember off the top of my head where I think Robert Spillane might have had two hands on one it's a linebacker, though, trying to make a play on the ball. But
I thought that was against Dobbs. Was that against May?
I thought it was May.
Okay.
But maybe I'm misremembering. It's starting to blend together a little bit here.
Yeah, a little bit. I'd ask somebody what day of the week it was today.
At the same time, if I told you we're 7 practices in now?
Yes.
7 practices
It's all
in
blending together.
that Drake May hasn't thrown an interception yet in camp, you'd either be over the moon excited or the one negative Nancy take that you could have would be like, well, is he throwing the ball down the field?
Oh, he's checking it down.
Yeah, he's checking
Which
it down.
there was
He's
one
being,
day of
he's
that,
being
but-
conservative, yada, yada, yada. Well, today he threw a absolute dime to Kyle Williams for about a 40-yard touchdown on a go route down the right sideline, going away from the hill on the Patriots practice facility. That would have been PFF marks that thing down as a big-time throw instantly, right? That's a real-time, big-time throw. He had one of those today. He drove another one down the field to Stephon Diggs today on a crosser. That was another muddied pocket like you were talking about where I thought he was stared down the barrel, stood in there, made the throw. Now he's in a red jersey and he knows they're not actually going to hit him, but still, he still stood in there. There's a free runner right in his face, and he just drilled it right to Stephon Diggs. So my point being is that I don't think he's being ultra conservative. I do think there are moments where he's pushing the ball down the field.
It was just that one day. Besides that, it's been fully at his disposal.
And he has looked on the whole. I think the only thing, we go into, I wanted to get into, I just love the Vrabel, the good, the bad, and the S that gets you bleep line.
We can't swear on here?
That is I might be able to.
I got to adjust. Well, the coach said it. I got to adjust from swearing was out.
Fantastic way of looking at it. Great line from the head coach. The bad for Drake May has been those occasional sprays that you'll see time and every so often. Try to get those words out. Every so often, you'll see. He had one yesterday where he had Hunter Henry. It looked like he had him in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown, and he sailed it.
Yeah.
He had one. Just on occasion he'll have those, but to me that's just the bad. That doesn't get you beat. The turnovers get you beat.
As long as you're not doing it on third down.
Fine, but the turnovers get you beat.
Sure.
The strings of incompletions will get you beat. If you can't move the ball at all, you're obviously going to get beat. We're not seeing any of that kind of stuff. We're seeing the occasional spray from Drake May, which is customary of his skill set and his positives and negatives as a player. We are also seeing, I would say, from Drake, which I really like, we're seeing a lot of things that involve his mobility, whether he's going to have the option to run, whether they're moving the pocket, the Pop Douglas throw, obviously, with out of structure, off platform, those types of things. But the main thing that I keep coming back to, though, because I've read some other reports, because this time of year, sometimes all 31 teams love their team, or all 32, other 31 teams love their team, right? Everybody's going to win the Super Bowl on July 30th. The rookies look great. The quarterback looks great. The coaching staff looks great. If you go read some of the things about some of the other younger quarterbacks in the league that have changed coaching staffs and have changed hands in terms of systems and coordinators, a lot of those guys are going through some growing pains of learning a new system. Like Ben Johnson was talking about Caleb Williams openly playing slower than they would like mentally.
Yeah, it's been kind of a mess with that, right?
Yeah, playing slower than they would like.
Ben Johnson at the helm. We'll do that another time.
And I don't see that with Drake. I don't see him playing slower.
No.
I don't see him having trouble with processing or decision making or whatever the case may be.
You know what?
That's great.
We saw it in the spring, and that's okay because he was going to learn it, right? But it's a credit to him and the coaching staff that they've gotten on the same page as quickly as they have.
So that's encouraging. I like what we're seeing out of the McDaniels thing. And after Vrabel made fun of friend Mike Giardi this morning about talking about the plays of practice, I'll be a little bit careful. But I like what we've seen from McDaniels and what they're going to do. Now, it looks similar. Like, it's the Josh McDaniels offense. Like, don't fool yourself. This is not a wholesale change of what they're doing, in terms of the offense or in terms of the passing game in particular. I think the drop back passing game is pretty much carbon copy of what they used to do. But with that said, like we've talked about in the past, they do have a mobile quarterback now. They have a guy that's a dual threat. We're seeing some moving pockets. We're seeing some options with his legs that are involved and him as a runner being involved, especially in some of the red zone work that we see. So it's like the old Josh McDaniels offense with like a sprinkle of mobile quarterback, right? Like,
right.
That's basically what we're going for here.
The Cam Newton offense,
which I like. I think all this is positive. It fits. It's all great. Now, that doesn't mean everything's great. We're going to get to some of those things that I don't feel are not so great about what's happening. But Drake May, Josh McDaniels, the two rookies on the offensive line, I think these are all, you have to come away feeling positive about all
you may have already touched on it just to get on the same page as you with Jared Wilson.
Yes.
He's the starting left guard now, right?
Unless he does something to lose the job, I don't see why not.
Do you think that's more because they think he's better at left guard, or is it because of the 2 fumbled snaps early on?
It's a combination. I think on one hand, so it's not just that, right? We do this all the time. They might like Bradbury more than they like Strange. So it's not.
So I guess that's what I'm asking you.
Just,
is this, okay, Bradbury's better than Strange, or is it Wilson's better at guard than center? So what do you think is more driving here?
The way that I look at it from Wilson's perspective alone is that as a rookie, not only is the center would be a rookie, a 22-year-old rookie, by the way, you would also have a 22-year-old quarterback in his second season standing behind him.
Yeah.
And in baseball, they call it the battery, right? Like the catcher and the pitcher. Like the battery of like the center and the quarterback.
I think it is also called that in football.
Being both like under 23 years old and both first and second year players in the league. It's just a lot to ask out of the gate for Jared Wilson to be a starting center in the league with really only 1 year of starting experience in college at center at Georgia at his age with a young quarterback. So having Bradbury in there at center to just be a veteran voice and have that veteran experience, I think they're probably thinking that's going to help Drake a lot.
Well, so then you do still have the 2 rookies on the left side. Then here's my second part of that. Cole Strange had only played guard in this camp to this point.
Yeah.
Garrett Bradbury goes down. That's a center. Okay, you don't want Jared Wilson at center. Ben Brown becomes the starting center. Cole Strange goes from being the top guard to the backup center.
Yes.
Like, do you think they don't trust Cole Strange at center?
Well, they haven't seen it, so it'd be hard to trust him because they haven't seen it.
I saw it last year.
I mean, they saw it on tape last year, but they haven't seen it.
They haven't hands-on,
in their system. Right?
I just thought that was notable because I was telling you before camp, like, don't write off Ben Brown. A lot of people wrote him off.
I am not writing off Ben Brown.
Do not write off Ben.
I said yesterday on PU that I'm not ruling out Jared Wilson and Brent Brown as your center depth chart. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying I have any information.
No Garrett Bradbury, that's it?
I'm not saying I have any
So that would mean Ben Brown is the starter then. If they like Jared Wilson. Adding to that, take what you know today.
Or Jared Wilson eventually becomes the starting center.
Moves over, and then they throw somebody else in at guard. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm not ruling it out. That's just me talking.
I've said this. I wonder if Garrett Bradbury, because you see this sometimes with guys' first-round picks, 7 years, all as a starter in this league. Is he going to sit here and back up a rookie? Or will he say, I want to go somewhere because, players get hurt and stuff. At least I want to go somewhere I have a chance to start.
If you had to ask me today, the 5 I laid out, Campbell, Wilson, Bradbury, Onwenu, Moses feels like the group today.
Yeah.
Long way to go.
But even if they do that, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep Ben Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Because
They don't want to move Wilson.
right now you have Scari's talk about this. Billy's talk about this.
Yeah.
You essentially have two backups in because Jared Wilson is your backup center, and now
Well,
you also have a backup guard.
That was the other thing
So-
I was going to say to you. We're on the same page here.
Yeah.
Dante Scarnecchia would tell you, if you want the rookie to be at left guard, you keep Jared Wilson at left guard,
Right.
and you put Ben Brown at center, because then when Bradbury comes back,
But I
it's
guess
just
for today's
Bradbury
practice-
and Ben Brown
Right,
out.
but for today's practice, why not Cole Strange at center? Why does Ben Brown get the bump over Cole Strange unless they don't believe in Strange as a center?
They don't believe in Strange as a center, or they simply just felt like Ben Brown was better equipped to do it.
I think their top linemen, like if we're going to do a little mini roster projection type thing here, right? Moses, Wilson, Bradbury if he's healthy, Onwenu, and Campbell, right?
Yes.
DeMontre Jacobs is clearly their top backup tackle. Cole Strange and Ben Brown. That gets you to 8. Usually they carry 9, right?
Yes.
9 or 10. So the only thing with that group is you don't have a backup left tackle. Now, I don't know who that's going to be, and that's a whole other conversation.
Until Vidarian Lowe gets out there and we start to see anything from him, I don't know how you could know who it's going to be.
So Vidarian Lowe or some sort of backup tackle, like that feels like the group. Layden Robinson's still buried. Oh, no. Sorry. No, Caden Wallace has been with the top group. Caden Wallace is in the mix. They're preparing
left
him for the
guard.
role. At left guard. But I'm saying, like, if we were to count that group, so it's Campbell,
yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Bradbury,
Onwenu
Moses.
Yeah.
And then your top backups are Strange, Wallace,
DeMontre Jacobs.
and now Ben Brown. So that's 9. So do you carry a 10th left tackle? Does maybe
Right.
Cole Strange? All right, well, if he's not going to be the starting guard and we have Jared Wilson and Caden Wallace can be the backup guard, does that leave Cole Strange on the outside looking in?
I feel like
Does DeMontre Jacobs gets bumped if they find a swing tackle?
out of that group, I
Yeah.
think the question comes down to two things. What do you feel like you can get Ben Brown to the practice squad? I'm iffy on that.
A guy that started, 10, 11 games?
But
and
most people don't
did
carry.
go-
Most teams don't carry backup centers that don't have any flexibility to play guard.
That's true.
A one position backup at center is pretty rare. But can you get Ben Brown to
In
the
this
practice
offense,
squad?
though, it's not. McDaniels has done it.
The other question is, what are they doing at tackle outside of DeMontre Jacobs to back up their starters?
So,
'Cause in my opinion, that the way you just laid out,
yeah.
Cole Strange being on the outside looking in so that a Vidarian Lowe or a Marcus Bryant
Right.
or a fourth tackle makes the team would make the most sense.
Unless it's... So, to me, it's either Ben Brown's the odd man out because he can only play center, but I don't hate them keeping a center-only player in this offense because it's so complex. Cole Strange is the odd man out because he can only play left guard.
Yes.
Or DeMontre Jacobs being the odd man out because they find a swing tackle, so they don't need him now because they have guys that play left and right. And Caden Wallace in a pinch can play right tackle if you need him to. I think at this point they view him primarily as a guard, but he's done it. I think if it, in game, you go down to your fourth tackle. Okay, we can throw Caden Wallace out there for the rest of the day, and then you add another, tackle in before your next game kind of thing.
I'm interested to
But
see.
that kind of feels like,
Yeah.
I don't think Layden Robinson's in the mix. City So got hurt today.
Those two guys I don't think are in the mix.
Yeah,
at
they
all.
don't seem like he didn't seem like he was in the mix before he got hurt. Yasir Durant didn't really look. Marcus Bryant would probably be the next guy up. And maybe it's, can Marcus Bryant beat out DeMontre Jacobs? Because he is a swing tackle. He can play, at least in theory. He's got to prove it. In theory, he can play both sides. And now you don't keep Jacobs. You keep Marcus Bryant. He's going to back up both tackle spots, and there you go.
So, a couple of things I want to unpack. Let's just stick on the offensive line for now because that's where we started anyways. And I feel like we talked enough about where Drake is at. A couple of things I want to talk about at tackle. Let's just go to Will Campbell now.
Yeah.
So, here's my take on Will Campbell. I personally believe that Will Campbell has come as advertised because coming into this, when he was drafted, and if you watched him at LSU and you listened to us or other programs during the draft, but hopefully us during the draft, we talked about elite college run blocker, so pass protector, has some warts as a pass protector that he needs to iron out.
Specifically that outside inside.
To me, that's exactly how it's been.
Yep.
And I will just say this because I have to be a little bit positive about my guy. It has been honestly a pleasure to watch that man run block. Like it is.
He's ferocious.
It's incredible. It's awesome. It is awesome to watch that man run block. Like we're talking about, like, forget about like the physicality and the finish, because all that's great, right? But everybody can throw their weight around. Like if you're 6'6", 330 pounds, you can throw your weight around. That stands, without mentioning. His ability to work up to the second level, he is on the second level in an instant. His down blocks cave in the line of scrimmage. Like he's literally taken out guys on the line of scrimmage already, down blocking. He
folded Milt Williams over twice in that first pattern practice.
He's got the reach and the athleticism to reach landmarks on the front side of run plays, whether he's sealing the edge to get the on a toss play, or he's front side reaching on outside zone to hook the edge, to get that corner for the running back. He finishes. He's nasty. He's physical. He moves people. He is a day one, I would say almost good to maybe potentially great run blocker, right out of the gate. So with Jared Wilson, who I also think is a very athletic and could excel as a run blocker, and then what you got brewing on the right side with Morgan Moses and Mike Onwenu, I am really optimistic that they're going to be able to run block, and they might actually be able to have a productive, effective running game. And we argue all the time about the importance of that. But I think the main thing to me, the big takeaway is, if you can run the ball, the things that you can do off the run game are just as important as actually running the ball.
Right.
So if you can come into games and teams...
Oh my, did Evan just suggest running sets up the pass?
If teams have to
you
respect
did.
the fact that you can...
Yeah, you did.
They can come off the ball and they can get Mike Onwenu and Morgan Moses on the double team, and they can move some bodies, right? And they can run to the left side with actual range and athleticism with Jared Wilson and Will Campbell, getting up to the second level, or like I said, hooking the outside, reaching the front side of a play to get the corner, Travion Henderson scooting around the edge. Like they can do all those things. Now you can play action. Now you can boot. You can move the pocket off of that. That's how you can protect the quarterback. And not only are you protecting the quarterback, but you're protecting the pass protection as well, because you're doing these things schematically that give the defense pause and force the defense to respect the run and respect the actions in the backfield. All of these things limit the true pass sets that you see from the tackles, right? Like the actual drop back passing game, which will allow you to maybe protect those tackles a little bit if they are a little bit weaker. Because I think Moses has had his issues too.
Yeah.
At right tackle and pass protection as well. So
let me just get this straight.
All of these things, I'm like a kid on Christmas. Like, this is awesome.
Let me just get this straight.
Yes.
You're talking about the run setting up the pass.
For now. It's not where I want to be. Like, it's not like the end goal. It's not the end game.
But you're
here.
acknowledging the run can set up the pass. That whole argument we had this winter about me saying being tough on the line of scrimmage and pushing the defense around initially can benefit you later in the game.
I am acknowledging that run actions mean more than just running the football. You can run the ball, and then you can action off of that, whether it's play action, whether it's
that
boot.
run action going to be as effective as the defense going to respect it as much if you don't prove you can run the ball outright? No, it's not. It's not.
I'll concede that point to you
so
today.
I just
today
just to be
and
clear,
only today, because I'm excited, and I'm going to allow myself to be excited
about the Patriots' ability to run to set up the pass.
I am excited about their running game.
Mark the date and time.
I think their offensive line is built for it. I think their offensive line is built to be able to run the ball. I think they have backs. I think Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson are going to be factor backs.
Can we talk about Travion Henderson real quick?
We will in a second. Right. I think they're going to be able to run the football.
And
Josh has always been able to run the football.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be able to run it.
Got to get a new fullback.
Got to
figure out what's happening there.
But I think they're going to be able to run the ball, which again, if you're running the ball and you're play actioning and that's like your base offense, like that's your first and second down offense. Now you're whittling down those like true pass protection reps where the guys are on islands at tackle and things like that. Now it's only like situational. It's only third down. It's only 2 minute. Like you're not doing that for the entire game where guys are just teeing off on Campbell and Moses for 4 straight quarters. You can stay ahead of the chains. You can stay in the game on the scoreboard, and you don't have to put those guys, expose them to like 30 pass sets per game, that's better. You can work with that. Now, that's not to excuse the fact or to hide from the fact that Will Campbell's pass protection in practice so far has been a mixed bag. There's no doubt about that.
On the true pass sets.
Yes.
He's been fine holding up on the play action stuff.
Like the true
pass sets. It's really that, I know people don't like it when we bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. The Drake May 4 interception practice in the spring.
Yes.
It was 4 picks and 6 throws.
Yes.
And then he was fine after that. This was he allowed 2 sacks today and a pressure. It was in the span of 4 snaps.
Yeah.
Right? And then I thought the rest of the day he was fine. There was nothing glaring. So it's concerning because it was in such a short window and he was beat on that same move. That's what I want to ask you to go back to what we were talking about with Campbell and kind of coming as advertised. We knew, I mean, the arm length thing aside, and I get it's loosely related to the arm length, but we knew we needed to get better at that outside in move and just protecting the inside, right? How do you, what is the coaching point? What do we look for to see he's improving other than just, okay, he's blocking it? What do we look for to see how does he adjust to being better against that move?
So if we go glass half empty on this and we tie it to the arm length, which it could be tied to.
It is loosely related.
So
it's not his arms are too short, he can't reach out there. But
I think it is. So most of the time when this happens, it's because he'll face a guy like Chazon or Swinson who's got some speed off the edge.
Yeah.
And in order for him to get his hands on those types of guys, he might need to take an extra beat.
He just leans a little bit, yeah.
Right, to get out there because he doesn't have the length to just reach him. So he's overcompensating.
Right.
He's reaching out further to the outside, and he's getting his weight over here, and then they're just swimming across back inside. So all of these things could be tied. If you want to be glass half empty about it, they could be tied to the arm length. Now, how do you work around that?
Yeah.
I think it's there's 2 ways. Obviously, every guy inside outside, you want to set inside out. You want to protect the inside first,
right,
and make the guy go the long way home.
And he has done a good job. He did this against Keon White today. When he gets beat outside initially, he has good recovery.
Yes.
So he can. It's not perfect, but and I was talking to Felger and Maz about this. I don't know. I didn't even mean to plug it again. I'm sorry. Something that great offensive linemen can do, and you can speak to this better than me, but this is just kind of how I've always felt. Nobody goes a whole season without getting beat. You're going to get beat. Even the greats get beat a handful of times. But there's getting beat and there's getting beat, right? You can kind of lose the rep.
Today
you can get
against Braden
by.
Swinson,
So that was a blow-by, right? That
Right.
was not just a beat. That was a blow-by. Being better at getting beat initially and then recovering and kind of making it so, okay, Drake has to, getting beat so Drake has to step up and reset versus getting beat so Drake gets outright sacked are obviously 2 different things.
Sure.
And so I think there's some of that where if you get when he's getting beat to the outside, it's not like leading the sacks. It's just kind of moving the pocket.
Right. So what I see from him is that in order for him to reach those high side rushers, those guys that are testing his edge with speed, he's got to be aggressive. And so he comes with both hands, and he just wants to fire his hands because he wants to end the rep as quickly as possible.
Right.
He's got great grip strength and great base power. So if he gets his hands on you, the rep is over. So his goal is to get his hands on people quickly and be more aggressive. Whereas, if you're a bigger, longer tackle, you can kind of just sit back and catch guys.
Trent Brown.
He's trying to go get him. And because of that, when he whiffs badly.
Right.
So being more patient in his set and kind of trusting his feet more than anything, I think is really the starting point of where I would think that the coaches are at with him because he's got great athleticism and he's got great feet. So trust the fact that you can move your feet. Instead of coming out and getting overextended and throwing that punch with 2 hands, try to sit back a little bit more. Try to be a little bit more patient. Wait it out for an extra beat and try to use your feet to recover. That's what I would coach him. But I'm not Doug Murrow. I'm not an offensive line coach.
Right.
I'm not trying to pretend to be
So
one.
do you
But
think
that's what I would.
Some of it too, and I don't know how much you do this with practice, but just on film, this is when guys will go to that move. This is the looks that will come with that move. And like, if you know it's coming, you can block it better. Like, can film help with that?
It can, especially if like a guy has a go-to move and then like a go-to counter off that move. Because what's going to end up happening, my guess is that guys are probably going to speed for like 3/4.
Yeah.
And they'll save the spin or the inside move until it's like a third down in the fourth quarter and it's like a big moment in the game. You know, Max Crosby, if he does rush over the left side a little bit on Will Campbell, I don't expect Max Crosby to go to the inside move the first time he faces Will Campbell. He'll try to sequence it together and build up to it and then set it up for a big moment. So there's a little bit of that, like anticipation of like when it might come as well. But the other thing is, and I know people don't want to hear this about a 4th overall pick, but he's a rookie at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There obviously are schematic things that you can do to help him protect the outside a little bit better. You know, you can chip, you can put a tight end over there, give him a little forearm, get a slab going over there with Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper. You can have the backs chip out of the backfield, and then he can like compensate for the chip, right? And kind of set a little bit more to the inside, anticipating the chip. And then you can feed the player onto him so that he's a little bit easier for him to block the guy. I know people don't necessarily want that. Like, they want him to be able to pass protect on an island like he's Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
I get that. But out of the chute, if they have to do stuff like that, if it's 3rd and 10 and it's a long down and distance and the defense is going to pin its ears back and they have to chip or they have to help, you might have to do that.
It's not his whole career.
No.
It's things you're doing to help him as a rookie get along while he builds up the ability to play more on an island.
I would stress to him, if it were me, I would stress to him, like, you have great feet.
Yeah.
Like, you're quick, you're nimble on your feet. You can slide, you can set out, you can mirror pass rushers, you can recover. Like, just sit back just a little bit longer and just trust your feet and don't be as aggressive as he tends to get at times, and I think he'll be all right. Again, like, I would still give him a passing grade for the camp, and I think his run blocking is like an A+ out of the chute.
His run blocking's legit.
Yeah.
He's again, I said the word before, I'll say it, he's vicious.
So on the other side with Morgan Moses, I'm a little I'm small C concerned. Is that allowed to be said?
Why are you? And then I'll say yes or no.
It's 2 reasons. One, I think he was better today, so I'll give him that. Maybe it was too premature for me to jump to this conclusion. I've seen speed give him some problems. Protecting the corner against speed rushers, getting out of his stance and like getting his hands on some of those guys, I think has been a little bit of a problem. The other thing is, and maybe this is just a 12-year veteran that they're easing in and they're managing and all that good stuff, but I can't help but think, is he really going to play 17 games? And hopefully for this team this year, like more than 17, right? Like, you're hoping that they're going to play 18 or 19 games. 20, hell, let's go for it. Is he going to be able to do that? And if it's not a Moses problem necessarily, I mean, the durability is a Moses problem, but he's 34. It comes with the territory at times. No offense, but I don't particularly love what they have backing him up. So, like, if he's missing a month of the season, then that's a month of Trey Jacobs, Vidarian Lowe, Marcus Bryant, whoever it is, at right tackle. That's a problem. That's not good enough.
So that's not being concerned about more. Like, I don't.
The durability
disagree. Right. I guess, yeah. No, the backup tackles, we talked about this a lot over the offseason. Like, it's a question. They relatively answered their starting tackle questions. We know who they are. At this time last year, we had no idea who the starting left tackle was going to be. It was either going to be the rookie right tackle they were going to move over, the borderline starting right tackle they signed from Pittsburgh who got cut, who they were going to move over, or Vidarian Lowe, and then it ended up being Lowe, who I think was like the third option there. And the right tackle, we didn't know who that was going to be, and that guy ended up at this time last year being on the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
So it's they answered to an extent the starting group. It's a house of cards. Like, if it is Campbell, Wilson, Bradbury, Onwenu, Moses, I feel okay about that. It's not going to be a top 5 unit in the league, but I think that that's representative.
Yeah.
But that can fall apart real fast because you lose 1 or 2 guys and the depth's not there. And look, they had a lot of needs this offseason. I understand why, backup right tackle maybe wasn't on the top of the list, but it's something that probably went under address. Same on the left side. So unless you really believe in Marcus Bryant, he's the one guy that's kind of an unknown, so I'm not going to say you know what you have in him because you don't. DeMondre Jacobs, we know who he is. He's a career backup kind of fringy player. For Darian Lowe, he runs hot and cold, but when it's cold, it's really not good. I'm concerned about their tackle depth. As for durability, yeah, he's 34 years old. I mean, that shouldn't be news to you.
It goes hand in hand, right? Like, I'm not saying it's news to me. I just watching these practices and like he's in and out of practice, and then he's in, then he's out again, then he's out, and
so
he's in
I'd
again,
be
and
more
like,
worried about that if it wasn't clear that they were making that a point of emphasis for a lot of their veterans, right? I'm not worried about the condition Harold Landry's in. He got a veteran day today. Yeah. Carlton Davis, we'll see. He's been in and out, but like they're kind of doing the veteran day thing for quite a few guys. If it was just, and I don't know, maybe this is a dumb way to look at it by me. Maybe this is just being too optimistic. If it was just Morgan Moses, I'd be like, oh, there's something wrong. I kind of look at it in the fact that Vrabel's openly talking about it. They're just kind of trying to make sure some of their veterans are in the right shape for the start of the season.
Fair enough. He was better today.
He was better. And I think it helped. He didn't rotate with DeMondre Jacobs today, right?
No. And it made me feel a little bit better watching him in one-on-ones and in team. I thought he'd protect the edge a lot better today. So maybe that, a lot of offensive line play too is just like rhythmic and timing and all that. So maybe he's getting the snap counts down and getting his feet and his reaction time and all that jargon down so that he can be a little bit better.
I will say this. I don't know if it's a concern with Morgan Moses. It's just something to watch for. You know how these tackles now, like they're trying to jump the snap the same way defensive players are trying to jump the snap. And
he does that.
That Washington game last year when they got called for like 5 false starts in a row. Yeah, no, he's right there trying to jump
it.
He's
an early starter.
He's going to get called for a few false starts early on because that's
part of like, okay, is he doing that to overcompensate because he's not fully trusting it?
I think a lot of veteran guys do that. I think now that's just like the it thing to do.
They try to be smart.
But I don't think it's like a veteran trying to compensate because what's his name? Trent Williams does it.
Yeah, but
I guess he's older too. It's a bad example.
But I hear what you're saying. I've always said this. I think what more like my concern level is less about that. I think like Morgan Moses is going to be like a bust of a signing. Yeah, it's more.
You're worried about his availability.
I'm worried about his availability and the fact that they really don't have anything that you feel good about behind him.
That's with a 34-year-old player. That's fair. I think I'm more concerned. This is a dumb take. I think I'm more concerned about what's behind him than his durability, and I get they're intertwined, but like
right because you only need what's behind him if he's hurt.
Right, but he's played at least 14 games.
Yes.
Every year of his career, right? So
yes, but for a team that we're projecting to go like 8-9, 9-8, and be like
that's
there,
true, those 2 or 3 games couldn't. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
All right, so I think that's enough on the offensive line. I think we just spent 45 minutes on the offensive line, which is our show, and that's not surprising. You mentioned Travion Henderson. You wanted to talk about Travion Henderson, and I do too. He's on my list. The main thing here I had written down for him. Just pass game impact. Like I think he's going to be an impact receiver out of the gate. Just an impact playmaker in general. But you see in the passing game, when he runs like a wheel or like a vertical route out of the backfield, that's going to be a hard foot race for a lot of linebackers to hang with him. We've seen him run some routes detached from the formation as well, like outside the formation too. I think those short little option routes that we saw James White live an entire Patriot Hall of Fame career on, I think those are in his bag as well. Today I saw him throw a chip block that landed a pancake, which was cool to see that pass protection a little bit. He has come as advertised as well, I would say, from explosiveness, sub game, pass game contribution. My only question with Travion Henderson after watching him since the spring is not ability, it's workload, like just managing workload. Right. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the biggest running back. It doesn't make sense to make him a volume running back. So how exactly do they strike that balance of this guy's a dynamic playmaker, but we also don't want to overuse him at the same time? That's the only question at this point.
Yeah, no, I still think Ramondre is getting the brunt of the workload in terms of the overall snaps. Now, the big moments, right? 3rd down, 2-minute drill. I think that's where you see Henderson. And the thing that stood out to me, and we'll need to look at this more when the games come around because it's not a perfect gauge in when they're not tackling. But, man, when he gets to the outside, there was a run today And he had one yesterday that was the same thing. Yesterday was a toss. I think today was a stretch. The one yesterday, like, he gets tossed to the right side, and the defensive line comes down and caves it in, and it's like he's got nothing. Like, it should have been blown up. And he had a little sliver of angle. And when he hit the top gear, it ended up being a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, his ability to create something from nothing by getting the right angle and using his speed, the fast and take, right? Okay, he's fast and. His ball carrier vision, but not just identifying the hole, but being able to time up, like, when to run full speed. So on that toss play, for instance, right? If he just run full speed right away, he would have lost yards because the blocking wouldn't have developed and the defense would have gotten to him. He waited up, he was patient, and then he knew when to hit the speed and what angle to hit. I go back to the screen touchdown against Texas in the college football playoff, where if you watch that...
That's another element that's going to be there.
Right.
With him.
If he runs full speed as soon as he catches the ball, it's like a 15-yard gain, which isn't bad, but, you know, it's the play's not developed. He's patient. He waits. The blocking develops. He identifies the hole. He hits it, and then, boom, he hits that top gear and pulls away. His ability to identify when he needs to run full speed, when he kind of needs to slow up, to be patient, to visualize the blocks developing, all of that is very impressive. And it's a couple times now he's created something from nothing, which we talked about this offensive line. There might be a few cases here where he's running the ball and it looks like nothing. So if you can get something out of that, that's going to be a major boost for this offense.
He's fast. There's no doubt about that. That speed.
But he's fast and.
That speed translates instantly. Like, you can see it. It's palpable. You can feel it. He's faster than other people on the field.
And
I think he's going to be a pretty good receiver. Now, the only thing that, like, is holding him back, if anything, at receiver is just, like, landmarks and, like, kind of figuring out, like, how exactly Drake wants him to run certain routes in terms of, like, where he ends up.
Yeah, they'll get there.
They'll
That's
get there.
Typical rookie stuff.
Right. They'll get there with that. I'm with you with Ramondre. I have no reason to believe that he won't be a lead back for this team, on early down lead back, whatever you want to call that. Until today, Land Larison got some reps today with the top offense, with some other frontline guys with Drake. But I thought Antonio Gibson had been pretty much holding everybody off for that third running back spot. Gibson's actually, maybe it's just a veteran thing versus a rookie, but he's gotten some reps over, in front of, I should say, or ahead of Travion Henderson, even at times this summer. So I still think Gibson is okay. Like, I still think he's probably on this team and has a role. He's been returning kickoffs too in special teams with Henderson. That's been like the top duo returning kickoffs. Let's talk about the receivers, because I know this is another hot button topic. My other take, other than the offensive line and how just jazzed up I am about the fact that they have two rookies that can play, I'm also trying to manage my excitement level for Stephon Diggs. Like, my excitement level for Stephon Diggs is pretty high. And I'm just trying to keep it in perspective and take the hose and put me out a little bit about this, because I understand that the bar is not very high with what I'm about to say, but it's still true. He's the best receiver I've seen in Patriots camp since Prime Edelman, and it's not particularly close. Like, you just see the efficiency of his movements, the quickness of his movements, how good he is, his hands. Like, he has magnets for hands, and his ability to finish at the catch point, and even when he's in a crowded contested catch kind of situation, his ability to finish through contact and keep the play, keep the ball in his hands. He's a professional receiver. Like, he just looks different than everybody else on the field. It's really impressive to watch him. I just, if he's healthy and he's a go and everything's fine, which it appears to be, I just don't see a world where he doesn't catch 100 passes in this offense. I just can't really fathom how that doesn't happen.
Yeah, if he's going to be in that role, he's got to stay healthy.
He's got to stay healthy. But look, it could be, like I've said before, it could be 100 catches for 1,000 yards. It might only be 10 or 11 yards per catch. I don't know if he's going to be truly a big play down the field burner anymore. But he's as advertised. And like I said, I think over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen some other veteran receivers, whether it's Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne and Devontae Parker and those types of guys. And you're Bourne's fine, but those other two, it was I don't know. I don't know about this, right? I don't feel that way about Stephon Diggs. I feel like Stephon Diggs looks like Stephon Diggs. And that's a that's fun. Like, that's a great development for them, and I think he's going to be a real player for them. The Patriots might have a fantasy-relevant wide receiver in Stephon Diggs.
And Josh McDaniels' offense, you never know. But no, he had that one day where he had a couple of drops. Besides that, he's clearly one of May's favorite targets. What's really impressive is how advanced their chemistry seems to be already, considering he wasn't really on the field with him in the spring.
Yeah.
The clear top four is him, Pop, Booty, and Kyle Williams.
Yes.
And then after that, where does Kendrick Bourne stand? Where does Jalen Polk stand? All that. But those four, there's a different kind of, talk about speed. There's a different kind of speed to that unit. And I think they all have good chemistry with Drake May already.
You mentioned Kyle Williams, your boy. Big catch today. Go route from Drake May, exactly as advertised. He caught another one yesterday, too, in high red zone where he just ran right by the defender on a go route, too, and Drake dropped that one in the bucket as well. The one today was, not that it was like a bad play by Kyle Williams. It was a beautiful throw, though. Like, that was, Kyle Williams really hadn't run past, I think it was DJ James that was in coverage. He hadn't really run past him yet, and Drake just kind of laid it out there for him, and Kyle Williams ran underneath it, and Drake kind of threw him open. Like, he just kind of... But what I was happy about with Kyle Williams on that play is that he kept running. Like, at first, I thought maybe he was going to shut it down and, like, run a back shoulder or something like that, but he knew what Drake was going for, and he kept running, and Drake ended up throwing him open. So it was a great connection there. The back shoulder timing still needs a little bit of work. Like, that seems like it's still a little off. I'm not 100% sold yet that, like, in press man, the first and second level routes, I don't know if he's going to where his separation level is with that, but he can run a go route. That's for sure. And if you start there and maybe expand as we go here, then that's good news for Kyle Williams.
Especially at the X.
Is he pushing Kayshon Boutte? Is there a world where Kyle Williams is starting for this team? Do you still feel like Boutte's got that job, locked down? Where is that competition for you right now?
Boutte's gonna make the team with how involved he is. I wonder if it's one of those things, and we've seen them do this in the past, where the veteran starts the year, and then it's not one major switch, just over the course, the rookie slowly gets more involved. I also think we know McDaniels isn't afraid to rotate and have 4 or 5 key guys, and there isn't necessarily a default 11 personnel. There might be that one guy. It was Edelman. It would probably be Diggs in this scenario that's like always on the field, but the other guys are moving around, especially when a guy like Diggs has the flexibility he does to play XZ and slot. So
yeah, you wonder with Kyle Williams.
I wonder if it's just going to be a outright 4-man rotation.
And you wonder with Kyle Williams too. Like I just mentioned, maybe it's like a limited route tree for him to start, and so in certain packages, certain calls, like certain times of the game, you might want the go route specialist on the field, right? Might be what he is to kind of start his career. And then he plays in those situations. I don't know if he's ready, though, from just like an all-around game perspective. Like, is he ready to be like the starting X receiver and like playing in all packages and all that kind of stuff? Probably not, but he can definitely have a role as like you said, like kind of like a wide receiver 3/4 where he's rotating with Boutte, and sometimes in certain situations it might be Boutte, like maybe in like a 12 personnel when they want like a more experienced run blocker and somebody that like knows those elements a little bit better. But then when they get into those 11 packages and they just want to get their best playmakers on the field and their most speed on the field, like then maybe it's a Kyle Williams. The last thing on the receivers I wanted to mention, where you had a take about Javon Baker the other day on my old program on Clintus that had our friends talking on the beat about your take about Javon Baker.
Were people talking about it, really?
A little chatter about Javon Baker. No,
I didn't hear
just from us.
Oh, just what in the group chat? Okay, I didn't know if you made it outside the group chat.
No one likes us. But Javon Baker, is there any chance for Javon Baker? Because if you had to stack like his highlight reel catches in this camp, like he has as many highlight reel catches as anybody. That doesn't mean that like it's a consistency issue, is my point. Like he makes once a day, he makes a
But
play.
You know what? The lows aren't as low as they like. There was one instance where he didn't line up right, and it was right after he made an unbelievable
You can tell
catch.
that Alex has talked about this already.
But okay. Here's the thing: you talked about being lowercase c concerned, right?
Yes.
About Morgan Moses. To borrow that parlance, lowercase g good start to camp for Javon Baker. Lowercase g good start. Look, this is how I do camp, right?
Yes.
I'm a credit where credit is due guy. I actually have another credit where credit's due take that we can do after this. But Javon Baker came out. He wasn't even working with the ones. He was working with the 2s and 3s. And he was getting open regularly against 2s and 3s. Now, he dropped one, and Josh Dobbs overthrew him a few times, so he didn't have any catches. The overthrows are not his fault. The drop is. Well, it's not his fault. No, do you remember the one where Dobbs missed him by like 15 yards?
Just kidding, yeah.
It was actually impressive how far Dobbs threw the ball. But, like, he's getting open. Okay, what more is he supposed to do? When he's if he's going to make the team, he's got to show he can compete against top unit. Yeah. In order to get the reps with the top unit, he has to show that he deserves them by winning against lower units. And I think he did that. You know, he's gotten a little bit more with Drake May here. He caught the big bomb from him the other day.
Yeah.
Had that toe tap catch. Was that from May or Dobbs when he had the toe tap on the sideline today?
Dobbs.
That might have been Dobbs. He's still working mostly with Dobbs. But, like, look, this is how I do camp. I still don't think Javon Baker is making the team. I still think he's far away, and there's too many guys ahead of him and all of that. Lowercase G, good start to camp. Credit where credit's due. He's done pretty much as...
He's done what he could have possibly done.
Right. He's doing as much as he could realistically do. He's making the most of the opportunity he's getting.
Yeah.
So, lowercase G, good start to camp for Javon Baker. Realistically, realistically good situation. And because there are so many receivers ahead of him, if let's say like they hadn't signed Stephon Diggs, right? This may be a more serious conversation. Yeah. Because there's probably one or two guys in the way, especially when Mac Hollins comes back. Or like, let's say just like they had less, Polk was still hurt, whatever. It might be a more serious conversation. It's probably not. So you're just like realistically, if he's going to have this kind of success against 2s and 3s that he is, throw him out there in the second half of preseason games, let him take over, and maybe get like a 6th-round pick for him.
So what I think he has, along with just like the highlight, like the flashes. The other day you mentioned the 7-on-7 catch where he just basically blew by the entire defense and caught a deep ball from Drake May. Yesterday he high pointed the one in red zone period where he went above the corner. I can't remember who the corner was, but he mossed the guy.
That was, I want to say Marcellus Dial.
Yeah, he went right, he was on, Javon Baker went to the 10th floor and the corner could only get to the 7th floor and he won. Won the ball. He has a skill set, and he has a skill set plus a body type that's different from Booty and Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
Javon Baker runs like a gazelle. Like, Javon Baker's got long strides. He got great build-up speed. Like, he pulls away from the defense a little bit better than a Keyshawn Booty does. And then he's got better size than a Kyle Williams. So that's what he has going for him, is that he's a specimen. Like, he is a physical specimen. He's 6'2", with 4.4 speed, 4.5 speed, maybe. But I think he's probably in the 4.4s. Like, he's got good speed, especially long speed, and he's got good size for the position. And those other two guys, I don't think necessarily check those boxes. So Javon Baker's got that going for him.
He ran a 4.54.
See, I feel like he's faster than that. But maybe again,
lowercase G, good start. We'll see what happens. Yeah. If he here's the thing. If he's making catches like this on a regular basis in preseason games, he's probably not going to get to the practice squad. So...
It's just something
if you get, it's obviously not ideal for a guy you picked in the 4th round a year ago.
Where credit's due as well.
Okay.
I think he's made some nice plays.
Can I give you one more guy credit where credit's due?
Sure.
And maybe this lessens the take on Javon Baker.
Oh, God. Okay.
You know who else had like a sneaky solid couple of days here? He's just regularly showing up, caught a couple touchdowns the last few days.
Who?
G. Scott.
So I was going to get to the tight end, so go for it. Go ahead.
Well, so... Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, the top two tight ends. Obviously, still nobody's emerged for that third tight end.
Yes.
Jack Westover's getting most of the third tight end reps. He was the second tight end up when Hooper was on PUP, but he hasn't really done much with it, at least from my point of view. Blocking-wise, I don't know that Scott stood out at all, but Josh Dobbs likes throwing to him. He's been a volume target, and the one thing that stands out to me is he can catch the ball with the defender hanging on his back. And it's not like he's going up mossing guys, but on the crosser, right? When the corner has a hand on your shoulder and he's trying to turn you, or he's got the hand underneath under your waist, like he's still catching all those passes. So he's not getting open, but he looks open with how often he's catching these.
He's got some
strong
skill
hands
in the passing.
So, and look, he was a highly ranked wide receiver prospect who went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And obviously he's since become a tight end, so things have changed, but I don't know that G. Scott's going to make the team. I still think they probably want a blocking third tight end, especially if they're not going to have a fullback, which we can get to.
I'm about to get to that.
But credit where credit's due. If everybody was waiting, I keep getting questions: who's third tight end? Who's emerging? Who stepped up? Through 7 practices from that group: Westover, Bell, Dupree, and Scott. I think Scott's been the best guy.
He's been the most noticeable. Now, Jaheim Bell had a catch today.
He did.
That was the first time I feel like I've said Jaheim Bell's name or written Jaheim Bell's name down. But G. Scott, if I had to say who has emerged or who has flashed the most, I'm with you. I would say G. Scott.
And again, Dobbs seems to really like throwing to him. So when we get into these preseason games, he could be somebody that puts up some numbers.
So you mentioned the fullback, and this is gonna get somber here for a second.
Yeah.
So really,
It doesn't get that somber.
it's upsetting.
It is upsetting, but it's not. It's still. It's not forever.
So the Patriots yesterday placed Brock Lampy on injured reserve.
You know, I was still calling him Spencer Larson the other day. I said that to Mike Reese. I was very embarrassed.
You called him Spencer Larson?
Yeah, I remember I did that. Like, I didn't call Mike Reese Spencer Larson. I called Lampy Spencer
I know.
Larson.
I knew what you
Which
meant.
he's not even like the number 46, but I did that on a show during the offseason too. I don't know why I kept doing that.
So the Patriots placed Brock Lampy on injured reserve. His season is over.
Yes.
For
But
clarity's
it's not
sake,
the kind of IR you can come back from.
he is done for the year. So the Patriots do not have a traditional fullback on the roster anymore. Not to like gloss over sucks for Lampy. Like tough break.
Obviously, yeah, because he was going
Yeah.
to make the team. He was
Yeah.
running with the top unit. He was
Yeah.
going to make the team.
Yeah. So stinks for Lampy. But just from a moving forward perspective, I have to imagine the Patriots are going to kick the tires at some point on some fullbacks. Like Mike Reese will have a list of like the Patriots had 5 guys in for a workout and 4 of them will be fullbacks, like or something like that, right?
Right.
I have to imagine that. There's also
Hunter Brosio.
waivers like in roster cut down day,
Yeah.
and if a team decides they're not going to go the fullback direction with their offense, like maybe they waive a fullback or they cut a fullback and the Patriots sign a fullback. Maybe Josh McDaniels calls Nick Caserio and begs for Jakob Johnson. Like I don't know. Like I think they're going to pull a fullback out of somewhere. I would have to imagine. It's not like we're asking them to pull a starting left tackle out of somewhere, right? Like this is a fullback. They'll find a fullback.
It's different in that, like, if a left tackle gets hurt, you have other left tackles on the roster, and you have to have a left tackle. It's just hard to imagine they would go from, okay, we're going to have a fullback and he's going to be involved, and then one guy gets hurt, and suddenly you change the entire offense because of it. Like you said, you can find a fullback. That seems easier than changing the offense.
So I think that they'll find a fullback elsewhere. But for right now, they don't have the fullback. But like you said, they were using a fullback up until this point. Like the fullback was involved.
Yeah.
Meaning Brock Lampy was involved up until this point. One padded practice and out, though, is a tough beat for Brock Lampy. I feel for him because, like you said, he was going to make the team. So we're on the same page with the fullback. They'll find a fullback at some point here in the next month, I would assume. And I still believe they'll have a fullback on the roster, and they'll use a fullback. Now, could Jack Westover, Jaheim Bell, G. Scott, like could they develop
They're
a fullback?
H-backs. They're not. That's not the guy you want me in the linebacker or the A-gap.
I'm with you. So I think that they will probably sign another fullback.
So again, if I can make the pitch, and I'm not entirely sure, like sometimes it's hard to find information on these guys. He may have gone back to school, but I didn't see him sign anywhere. Hunter Brosio was not only North Dakota State's fullback, and that's a school that runs the damn ball, right? Not only was he their starting fullback, he was also an All-American long snapper. So you have your backup, you'd have your fullback, and you'd have a backup long snapper if you need one.
So that's
no comment on that?
No.
Okay.
That I feel like that's a good wrap on the offense. We
Yeah.
have to end a little bit early today, so I don't want to. I think we did a good job there on the offense. But before we move over to the defense, based right here in New England, Brunt Workwear makes work boots and apparel that are built for the job site. Their gear is comfortable, durable, and named after the real workers in the trade that helped design it. You can even try Brunt out on the job, and if it doesn't blow you away, they'll let you send it back. Save $10 on your first order at bruntworkwear.com/Pats or with coupon code PTAS. And Bartha, Massachusetts tax-free weekend is coming up.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Didn't know that.
And you can pre-select your favorite pieces with Bob's Discount Furniture now. Score everything from game day ready power recliners, dining sets, bar carts, and servers for all your halftime snacks. Even fan favorite Bob-O-Pedic mattresses for your rest and recovery routine. And remember, Bob's Discount Furniture goes even further on tax-free weekend. So stop in, shop online, or reach out to Bob's Squad to lock in those savings now with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. Moving over to the defense. So I said earlier that I was small c concerned about Morgan Moses. I feel a little bit better after today.
Yeah.
It's maybe like it's in like 8-point font now. You know, like
Okay.
we're really small.
Well, the size of the font has nothing to do with whether or not letters are capitalized or not.
Good point. Good point.
That's
But I
not how
tried
that
to
works.
like
I see
figure
what
out
you're
a
saying.
different way to say it. Can I say that you might be the same way a little bit about Milton Williams?
Yeah. Well, just one aspect of his game. So I still think Milton Williams, I mean, he's clearly powerful, explosive, quick as a pass rusher. And I think him and Barmore, it's clear they have chemistry. That's going to be a ton of fun. And this expands. It's not so much a concern about Milton Williams, I guess, as it is their front as a whole. And it's nothing new. We talked about this. Part of getting quicker and faster and more explosive up front this offseason meant getting smaller. And this is a team that already struggled to stop the run last year. So Milton Williams did not have a great first few days in pads against the run specifically. He's fine pass rushing. I don't think he was great against the run. And it was, a question I had. They're going to be smaller. Now, maybe Kyrus Tonga ends up playing a bigger role than I was expecting because it kind of looks like that based on what they've done. And he's been really good.
So he's the only guy on the team that can eat space, like truly eat space. Like Barmore eats space in his own way. But if you're really talking about like a space-eating nose tackle, it's Tonga. He's one of one.
Yeah, Roy's done it a little bit. I don't know. He was in with the first team because Barmore was limited. I don't know that he ultimately makes the team when it's all said and done. But Milton Williams playing a new role here. He was a situational player. He was a passing down player in Philly because they had all that depth. Never played more than 48% of the snaps in his career before coming here. Him and Vrabel talked about it at that introductory press conference. He's going to play a bigger role. That means stopping the run. They need him to be able to stop the run. So it's just a few days, plenty of time to turn it around, but not a good first couple days for him, I thought, on run defense.
So your bigger picture concern about the run defense as a whole and Milton Williams' role in that is totally valid.
Yeah.
I'm not overly shocked that he's not like a glitzy practice player because of the style of rusher that he is. Like Milton Williams is a speed to power, dent the pocket, move the guard type of pass rusher, right? So when I see, like, for instance, when you watch one-on-ones, like the fact that Milton Williams isn't dominating one-on-ones is not a surprise to me and doesn't worry me at all because it's just not the type of pass rusher that he is. He is somebody that likes to convert speed to power and he wants to go through people. And like, you're not going to see that unless he puts somebody on his butt. Like, you're not going to see it in drills. It's just not going to come to fruition the same way. And I would also just say, like, I think that that's a guy that plays the best when in real games. Like, I think he's a game player, not necessarily a practice player. So I'm not worried about Milton Williams because of that. But I hear what you're saying in general about the defensive line and his role in the run defense. They are going to, he said it today. This is all about get off. It's about your first 3 steps. Like, they want to fly up the field off the ball in this defense. So in a lot of ways, and this is a Deuce parlance, I'll steal it from him, they are going to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. Like, they are going to fly off the ball. And the hope is that when they shoot their gun, that they shoot it right into the running back.
Yeah,
right? Like, that's the hope. But if they don't and they miss, then it's going to be a little bit leaky. Now, the one guy that hopefully will prevent it from being too leaky is 14 standing behind them, Robert Spillane. Like, that's going to be his job, is to fix it, is going to make them right and put them back into place and make sure that those leaky moments don't turn into like 50-yard runs, right? Like, that's going to be on Spillane. But at the same time, I don't think that this is going to be a very stout front. This is going to be a splash play front.
So, yeah, and you mentioned it being Spillane. He's going to be a big part of that. Where I'm just coming from is, like, assuming everybody's healthy, and obviously they're a little banged up in the secondary right now, but assuming everybody's healthy, Gonzalez, Davis, Duggar, Peppers, Marcus Jones, and I get that's an if, but assuming everybody's healthy, right? I actually think they're going to be relatively tough to throw the football on. Between that secondary, they don't have a great pass rush, but like they've got some dudes up there. We can get to Caleb Chase on.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second.
I think they're going to be tough to throw the ball on. What concerns me is that if that's the case, well, remember what the Jaguars did to them last year in London. All right, we're just going to run the ball 17 times in a row.
Right.
And they at least need to be good enough to deter that. That's the baseline for me.
It's fair. Moving to the edge rushers, you just mentioned him. Is it fair to say that Caleb Chaison's been the best defender in Patriots training camp?
I think you could argue he's been the best player on the field since the pads came on. I've been saying that.
Yeah, I think that there's a good argument for that as well. He's it's beyond flashing at this point. It's like he's just in the backfield every other play. Now, you could look at that again. You could look at the negative side of that and say, well, who's blocking him then? Like, what's going on with the offensive line? But I think Chaison's just been great. Like, I think he's just been explosive, and he's fits the scheme really well, and he looks at home in it. This is a guy who's a former first-round pick, and I went through it this morning because I was trying to jog my memory of his career. He was drafted by the Jaguars in 2020 in the first round. That was Doug Marone's last year. Doug Marone's here now, so I'll be gentle with what I'm about to say. They won one game. Let's just stick to the facts.
Yeah.
They won one game. It wasn't a good season. The next year was Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. It was the Urban Meyer year in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Train wreck, right, for the entire organization. Then he played on some Doug Peterson teams. He goes to Carolina for a year. Then he goes last year to Vegas, where he had like a Josh Uche type season, right?
Yeah.
Where like
Came on strong late.
Yeah, he's playing opposite Max Crosby, takes advantage of some matchups. He racks up some sacks, things like that. But there's still a first round talent in there somewhere. And is there a chance, and I'm not saying he's going to turn into like a 3-down game wrecker, like I'm keeping it within reason here, but is there a chance that he's like a really, really good player in his role with Big T, with Terrell Williams, with Mike Vrabel, with a scheme that fits him, with a coaching staff that knows what it's doing? Like, I'm just saying that he hasn't had the easiest road in the NFL to this point. He hasn't been on the best teams, and he hasn't had the easiest road. So maybe at this point, K'Lavon Chaisson can kind of find himself in the NFL with the Patriots, because he's just looked terrific. Like, there's no other way to describe
And look, this is a coaching staff that's had success kind of turning these guys around. He's still young. Even though he's been in the league since 2020, he's only 26. So I don't know that they found Myles Garrett out of nowhere. But, yeah, if he can be a more productive pass rusher and kind of play up a little closer to that draft pick, it'd be great. I think there is some Josh Uche there where it's going to come in spurts, and you look at the flashes and you say, how real is this? Like, let's say he had like a 12-sack season, right? How quickly are people going to start talking about Mark Anderson? And that, by the way, I would take a Mark Anderson
It is
season.
absolutely so weird that you just said that, because the first name that came to my mind when I was doing some research on Chaisson this morning was like, is he going to be like a Andre Carter, Mark Anderson type, right? That like comes to the Patriots for a year and has double-digit sacks.
I forgot about this. Mark Anderson had 12 sacks as a rookie.
Yeah, like Mark Anderson is the exact comp that I was thinking of, like the exact kind of player, like everything.
Yeah, no, but I would take a Mark Anderson year. Just let the Bills be the ones to pay him after again. But I would take a Mark Anderson year.
But the point being with Chaisson, and I had the same point with Landry in terms of the Mark Anderson stuff. Like, if Keon White and Barmore and Milton Williams are moving the quarterback off the spot because they're just disrupting and they're just wrecking stuff in the interior and bodies are flying around, we've talked about they need somebody to finish, right? They need somebody that's actually going to get the quarterback on the ground. And I have no reason to believe that can't be Chaisson.
I think he can be a finisher. It's been an encouraging start. The real next test for him is going to be those joint practices. Like, let's see. I'm not exactly putting in the ticket for K'Lavon Chaisson Defensive Player of the Year just yet.
No.
But it's been...
Can he clean up? That's it.
Of all their free agent signings, that was not a guy that was like particularly high on my radar of like, oh, maybe potential breakout guy, could be a steal. Not that I thought he was going to suck. He kind of flew under the radar there in free agency. He's been their best free agent addition so far in camp. Maybe Robert Spillane. He's also been really good. Just not by the nature of his position, not the same number of impact plays because of the way they play in practice. But boy, if he's a find, that changes a lot.
It just if he's the fourth guy, like you said about Uche and those types of comps, like if you have to worry about Milton Williams, you have to worry about Barmore, you have to worry about Keon White. If those guys are worth worrying about, right? Those are, I don't know if like all three of them will be Tuesday players truly, but like they're guys teams are scouting and having plans for. That leaves, we've talked about Landry in that role as well before. Yeah. But that fourth rusher, whether it's Chaisson or it's Landry, like that guy is going to just see one-on-ones on the backside of the formation all day, every day. Like Chaison's just going to get a one-on-one against the tackle, and if he wins his one-on-one, then he's going to get a bunch of sacks. Like that's just the nature of the beast there, and I don't have any reason to believe that he can't do that. So he's been exciting. He's been one of the best players on the field, like you said, for the Patriots through 7 practices. I initially wrote that Swinson's been quiet, but he had the one-on-one rep today. So credit to him there. I actually think Elijah Ponder's had some flashes in one-on-one.
He had a nice one-on-one win today.
Yeah, he's been doing well on that. So those two rookies coming on a little bit here. Swinson's been quiet up until today, but I thought today was one of his better days. At linebacker, I mean, there's not a ton to say other than, I think Robert Spillane is obviously locked in. I think Christian Ellis is pretty locked into the spot next to him at this point. Jelani Tavai's not out there. He's on the PUP list. So that's a factor. But maybe we hear a little bit from Jack Gibbons as well as like the third guy.
He had one play today where...
Larison, yeah.
Not with... Was it with Larison? Was it the screen?
Yeah, Larison.
Yeah, I mean, he got to the ball... He got to Larison before the ball did from Dobbs. He read it. So Land Larison, just to backtrack, Land Larison caught his first pass from Drake May in team drills today.
There you go.
I don't know if you put any weight in that, but that happened.
That did happen. It was a nice little screen too. Good blocking, Hunter Henry and Keyshawn.
I did a little UDFA checking in my notebook today.
Very nice. Aside from like the occasional one, like the one today for Larison, just quick aside. I think the least successful plays in practice are screens. Like, I feel like the defense never bites. Like, the defense never cares.
There's no reason to bite in this setting.
There's no reason to bite in this setting is exactly right. And the Patriots obviously want to have the screen game be a big part of the offense. I'm not anti-screen. Some people are anti-screen. I'm not anti-screen. I think a lot of really good teams screen. The Eagles and the Chiefs especially. Andy Reid is like a screen game wizard, right? He's probably the best at it. The Chiefs are always near the top of the league in screen usage. And if it's good enough for the Chiefs, then it's good enough for everybody, in my mind. But I feel like they never work in practice.
But they're not working because they're designed poorly. They're not working
they just
because
don't work because the defense doesn't bite on them.
Right. Because there's no reason to. You don't want to get caught out of position to there's no upside to not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at corner, we know that Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis are missing in and out of practice, maintenance, or whatever you want to call it for Carlton Davis. And Gonzalez reportedly has the hamstring. My concern level for Christian Gonzalez is less than 0. I am absolutely not worried about his hamstring injury at all. As far as I'm concerned, and I'll continue to say, I said this yesterday on PU, I will see Christian Gonzalez week 1 against the Las Vegas Raiders, and I do not care if he practices one more time in the summer.
Not even one bit. They can take their time.
Yeah, I'll see it against the Raiders.
Keep that same energy with Jason Tatum.
That's different.
No, it's not.
That's different.
No, it's really not.
It's different. It's basketball against football. It's totally different.
It's the star player. It's the best player on the team. It's the guy wearing number 0.
But I said that he can't miss any regular season games. If he starts to miss regular season games, I'll start to be worried about it for Christian Gonzalez.
I'm just saying, keep that patience. Keep that patience in mind with Jason Tatum.
But more importantly, from a camp perspective, because Gonzalez and Davis have been out, which isn't ideal. Like, no one's saying that that's what they want to happen, but we have seen opportunities from the depth corners, and we're starting to figure out this depth chart and cipher through this. So Alex Austin, Marcellus Dial, and DJ James are obviously the guys that are benefiting the most from this. What have you seen from those three? Like, who have you liked the most out of that group?
I mean, Austin's, I think, the third guy. Like, that's pretty clear, and he's been good. He had another couple pass breakups today. DJ James been impressive. DJ James has shown up, and he seems like he makes a play or two every day. I think he's been the better of the two than Dial. Now, Dial was a core special teamer for them last year. So you have to factor that in terms of, can James replace him in that role? Can somebody else replace him in that role? Do they want to keep him for special teams? Maybe they can keep both, depending on how the rest of the roster shakes out. But he's been good. I am a little surprised we haven't seen more Isaiah Bolden. Like, I'd like him to get, it's in, what is this, 3 years now of, can we see some more from Isaiah Bolden? And they haven't done a ton of kick return. I don't think he's really done much when they have done kick return stuff. So he might be on the outside looking in, but I've been impressed with DJ James.
So DJ James has been active. He's locked pass breakups. Marcellus Dial, I don't know if Marcellus Dial is the best outside corner in terms of coverage ability. Like, I don't know if he's a true cover corner. But I do like his physicality, and I like his play demeanor, and I like his speed, and I like his tackling ability. Is Marcellus Dial maybe more like a nickel safety at this level than like a outside boundary corner? Like, it plays in the slot, plays maybe a little bit of safety. He made some plays on the first day at pads against the run that like really stood out. Like firing downhill, filling gaps, filling holes, going through wide receivers who were trying to block him and just going right through him to the football. So I wonder if Marcellus Dial, because I don't think he's the best cover corner. Like, when he has to turn his back to the quarterback and really run with a receiver down the field, I'm not sure that that's where he's most comfortable. But if he plays that nickel spot, and he can play the run. He can be a strong side, edge setter, second force defender against the run. And then you also have him, maybe cover some tight ends, which might be easier for him. Do some zone drops and things like that. Like maybe that's a role for Marcellus Dodd because his physicality and his tackling is noticeable.
Yeah.
He's really good in that.
Well, you see it on special teams.
Right. You see it in special teams. So I would say Dial, but I understand why you picked out James there. And it's also just something I've been thinking about. We don't have enough time for it today, but it's something to unpack in the future. Just like how they're going to cover tight ends in general. Yeah. I'm just not 100% sure about, and I don't know if Dial factors into that. We'll see. At safety, I just think the biggest thing to take away from safety is the hunt for a third safety is on. Like they're trying to find the right combination back there. And I would even go as far to say at times, like it might mean that Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers aren't on the field together all the time. That could be a case where if they want to get three corners on the field and they want to be like a true 3-corner nickel or even like a 4-corner dime or something like that, like they might play one of these more free safety body types, like an Epps or Hawkins or a Woodson with Duggar or Peppers and take one of those guys off the field. Like I don't think it's a guarantee that the two of them are going to just be on the field all the time. So we'll see where that goes, but the third safety is clearly something they're looking for. Like they're trying to figure out their best combination back there.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkins seems to be squarely in the mix. I feel like we've seen less of Marcus Epps after the first couple days. Maybe that's because he's still recovering from the ACL and the pads coming on and all that. I had cited maybe Craig Woodson as that tight end stopper. He's kind of dropped off after he had a strong spring. So, yeah, the search for that guy continues.
Yeah, I don't know if they have that guy.
They might not have him.
They might not have him, but I have noticed quite a few times that, especially if they're doing like third down, when they're repping third down, that Peppers and Duggar haven't always been out there together. Like sometimes it's been Epps, sometimes it's been Woodson, like it's been another guy that they're trying to get into their safety involved there. All right, to wrap this up, it's your time to shine.
Yep.
I'm gonna hand the ball over to you. The ball is now in your court. Tell me about the kickers, because my one question about the kickers.
Yeah.
Has Parker Romo, just take away that they drafted Borgalis and all that stuff. If you take away all the context, has Parker Romo outperformed Andy Borgalis to this point?
Yeah, I mean by a slim margin, but so are we concluding the spring or no? If we include the spring, I still think Borgalis is ahead.
Training camp.
Romo's been slightly better in camp. I think it's pretty much even.
Okay.
I think not including the draft pick, and Ty's going to go to the draft pick, right?
Correct.
So not including the draft pick factor and everything, I would say going back to the spring, it's a tie.
Okay.
I do think it's interesting that after Borgalis struggled with them alternating, they went to 2 days. Okay, Romo's going to kick 6, and that's it. And then Borgalis is going to kick 6, and that's it. And then they went back to alternating today. So a little bit of a reset. The in-stadium on Friday is obviously a big one for this. I asked Bryce Beringer about that today.
Quinn Nordine.
It's a where were you moment. Quinn Nordine's 9 for 9 in the in-stadium practice. We all remember where we were.
We're going to name a Quinn Nordine award on the show next week. That's going to be whoever won the in-stadium practice for the kickers. There you go.
That might just be the annual, the Quinn Nordine winner.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been close. I think that the other factor in this that you have to mention is I think that Julian Ashby and Bryce Beringer are still building some chemistry as the snapper and holder.
Yeah.
Punt snaps have been fine. The field goal snaps are still there hasn't been any truly bad snaps. But there's still some where, Beringer's reaching a little bit to get it down, and that can impact it. So the operation as a whole is still coming together, but I think it's relatively neck and neck. But again, Ty goes to the draft pick. So if I had to pick today, it's Borgalis. I think Borgalis is going to have that kind of slight built-in advantage, but we thought it was over at the end of the spring, right? And Romo's come back, and he's had a great camp. And the thing about Romo is the way he hits the ball. I mean, even when he's hitting from 45, he's not just getting it over the crossbar. It's not lightly tapping that field goal net, right? He's hammering the crap out of the ball. And that can be good and bad, right? It obviously helps you in weather. It helps you in wind. You stick to your trajectory. But those guys, when you kick that hard, your mechanics really have to be down, because any minor issue in the mechanics is going to be, it's going to have more of an effect if you have a mistake because you're swinging so hard. So that's it about Romo. Borgalis had that rough first day. He's been good since, so you see him bounce back.
What do you make of him? Something that we've talked about on PU. we've noticed that sometimes Borgalis's kicks are not in, like they're not going end over end.
Yeah.
They're knuckleballs. What do you make of that?
If they go through, ultimately it doesn't matter. He's had a couple. So the ones going back to the spring, like he had a miss hit where it was still good, but it just didn't hit his foot right, which I think when you can miss hit it, it still goes through. That to the opposite, that speaks to how strong your mechanics are. That even if one thing's a little bit off, the rest of it's still tied together and you're in good shape. I think that's just a consistency thing. They might be working on his form a little bit, so that's why that's happening. Like Romo, if they were going to tweak his form, they probably did it last year when he was here on the practice squad. It's not something they'd be working on, I would think, heavily right now. Borgalis, obviously, that's another story. So as long as they're going through, it's not a big issue, but it does tell you that there's something he's maybe working on mechanically.
So you feel like as of right now that it's close enough that the tie goes to the draft pick?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel the same way. So,
But it's not over.
It's not over. In-stadium practice, preseason games, those are all big deals for that position.
It'll be interesting seeing who they have kicking the games and how many reps each guy gets in the games. So that's usually pretty telling.
Yeah. All right. So that's your run through the entire roster. Hope you enjoyed it. We have a couple more minutes. So I'm going to tell you what. We have 3 callers that have been waiting on hold for a really
Lightning
long time.
round.
But you guys got to be fast because we got to get off here
No
for
pleasantries
another
today.
show in the studio. So be as quickly as you can if you're still hanging on here. Patty and Agawam. What's up, Patty?
I'm still hanging on. Hey, Evan, I'll tell you what. I was ahead of the curve when I asked you guys on PU if you guys were excited about Jared Wilson coming back since he was on. He didn't practice a lot in the spring, and if you guys thought he would win a starting job, you guys kind of tempered those expectations, but now those are full-fledged. So on that same token, and I know I'm looking far ahead, why not put Christian Gonzalez on Brock Bowers in week 1? That makes the most sense to me because if you look at their skill position players, there's nobody that really is a game breaker other than Bowers. That's all I got. I'll take it off air, guys.
Thanks, Patty. So I agree with you that I think it's in play that one of the corners takes Brock Bowers, especially on third
It's
down.
probably more Carlton Davis just because of the physicality.
I'm with you. I think Carlton Davis, long arms, physical guy. I think he's more of a pure matchup for that. But I would 100%. I almost expect them third and pass. I expect one of Gonzalez or Davis to be on Bowers. I expect them to treat him as basically as a wide receiver. Riley is in Phoenix. What's up, Riley?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
Good.
Hey, so 2 quick questions. I'm not sure if you already covered them or not because I'm at work here, so trying to do my best to keep up. But what are we seeing with Marcus Epps and Marty Mapu?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Riley. So he mentioned Epps a little bit. He's been in that third safety, free safety mix. I don't think that's necessarily a role where you're going to see a lot of splash plays from that position. It's more of like a Deron Harmon be in the right spot kind of role. But that's Epps. Mapu's been playing linebacker a lot for now with the second unit at times, but mainly that I would say Tavai's not out there. So it's hard to say. If Tavai was here, would it be Gibbons and Tavai, as the next 2 right on the field instead of Gibbons and Mapu? But that's where they're repping at least. Mapu made some plays against the run the other day. I marked him down for a couple stuffs. So he was in there a few times, but I wouldn't say either one of those guys has flashed, to a point where I'm talking about him.
No, Mapu still feels like a guy who's probably on the bubble.
Yeah.
And then Epps has played enough that I think he's going to make the team, but he hasn't necessarily had any big standout plays.
All right, Randy is in Providence. What's up, Randy? Going once, Randy. All right, I left those guys on hold for over an hour, so I'm not surprised. All right, so that's going to do it for today's show. A little bit of an abbreviated episode today because Alex is he's just a popular guy. We just have to compete for his time this time of year, and that's hard to do. So
we all have a job. We all have jobs we have to do.
Yeah, that's fair. Next week we are going to be on Thursday. The next 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to be on Thursday because of the joint practices that are coming up. We wanted to do the one in Minnesota. We wanted to do it on Thursday so that we can talk about both days of practice instead of just one day of practice. And then next week, again, we have to share Barth with the Sports Hub, his day job at least. So we're going to do the show on Thursday for the next couple of weeks. So we'll be on Thursdays for the next 2 weeks after Patriots Unfiltered. So 2 to 4-ish for the next couple of weeks there. But we'll keep you guys updated on all that good stuff on socials and on Patriots.com and YouTube and all those good things. So you'll be updated on the times and the days. But for the next 2 weeks, it'll be Thursday, not Wednesday. But until then, signing off for Alex Barth, for Alex Behind the Glass. We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Bye.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.